Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kyle Pinkney, and today I'll be talking about what makes a hero. So, when we hear the word hero, our minds will often leap to epic fantasies or stories of Heracles and his feats of strength against the Hydra, or Superman saving Lois Lane, or Batman stopping the Joker from destroying Gotham, or things of that nature. But in truth, most heroes don't live on the big screen or in comics, but you see them in everyday life. They walk among us, no fanfare, but they display things that make them heroes. Now, let me ask you, what do you think makes a hero? Now, not every hero is super. A hero can be somebody walking past you. When I think of hero or everyday hero, one of the main things that comes to mind are nurses or doctors or police officers or firefighters or anybody who goes out of their way or puts their life on the line to help others. But you don't always need to put your life on the line or risk your safety to be considered a hero. There are traits inside each and every one of us that help to make us a hero, and one of those traits is selflessness. Selflessness, one could say, is metaphorically the heartbeat of heroism. It's the act of putting someone else's needs above your own, not for applause, but because you care. It's acting for somebody other than yourself, or for the greater good. Now, it isn't just about that, but it's also about recognizing that your actions ripple outward, that have an effect on others. And heroes understand that when you lift someone else up, it doesn't take away from them, it adds to everybody else. But you also need to recall empathy. Empathy doesn't just allow heroes to act, but it lets all of us connect with each other, to feel with somebody, not just for them, because that would be sympathy. To imagine what it's like to live in another person's world or to walk in another person's shoes, even if you've never experienced it yourself. And in a world that encourages judgment and asks us to pause empathy, we need to listen and we need to understand before we speak. We need to know who someone is before we assume anything about them. We need everybody's story. But that's just one small component of it, along with selflessness. Another thing you need to consider and you need to keep in mind and in your heart is integrity. Integrity is what anchors a hero, when the ground starts to shift. It's what keeps them aligned. One might even say, it's how they act behind closed doors. When I was younger, my grandfather would also tell me, do not judge anybody based off of the color of their skin, how tall they are, how they look, anything like that. Nothing objective. You judge them by the content of their character. And I feel like that's what integrity is. It's being honest with others, having consistent values and morals. You can't just talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. If you understand what I'm saying, you need to live it. You need to show it. You need to show people that you have integrity. And the last thing I'll say is you need to be resilient. I'm sure everybody's heard the phrase, it's not about how hard you get knocked down. It's about if you get back up. And for resilience, it's about no matter what happens through the face of danger, it's the ability to bend without breaking, hurt without becoming bitter. It's not just about being unaffected. It's about refusing to stay down and, as I said earlier, getting back up. You have to learn from the hard moments to become better. After you got knocked down, did you become stronger? Did you become wiser? What did you learn and how will you move on from here? And when you take that into account, you can become a strong and resilient person. Now, what is it to be brave? A lot of people will tell you to, be a hero. You need to be born brave. You need to be born courageous. You need to be born with the heart of a lion. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that heroes are born. I believe that heroes are made. Heroes are made through a series of experiences throughout life that puts somebody in a position to be a hero. And with all the traits that I've mentioned, if you can somehow incorporate these, I believe that anybody can be a hero. As a matter of fact, I believe that you can be a hero. Now, how can you be a hero? As I've just said, incorporate these traits into your life. Now, you can't just add all of these and suddenly become a hero. As I've said with integrity, you have to live it. You have to live with your morals and your ideals in mind. I believe that everybody has the potential to do good. You can be a hero at home, I can be a hero, and everybody can be a hero. Thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great day.